Dum-ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum-bum. Oh, hey, look, we're online. I'm gonna go tell the world. So, today we're gonna just try and learn some 2D stuff in Unreal. I was a little disappointed by Godot's flexibility, or lack thereof, so I figured I'd go back to Unreal for a little while, see whether or not it has any decent capabilities here. I haven't watched any 2D tutorials or anything. We're just kind of goofing around to see what's up. Now, this is a 2D default game. You can see how it uses their 3D man, but that 3D man is actually just a sprite. They didn't, there's no model in here. It's just they used the model and baked it down instead of drawing new stuff. So, we're not actually creating a 2D platformer, but there was no spreadsheet game tutorial, which is a little bit funny, actually. I think that all game engines should come with a spreadsheet game tutorial because managing your data is a huge part of what makes these engines different from each other. For example, in Unity, you can manage your data using singletons, or not singletons, they're called the things that aren't prefabs. I've forgotten. I've already been away from Unity for 6 months, so I've forgotten all the terminology. But those work in a very specific way that is Unity only. And when you move over to a different game engine like Unreal, how you gonna create those same data slots? I don't know yet. We're gonna find out. And in Godot, I don't know if you can. There's certainly nothing obvious. Now, obviously, you can create like a text file or a JSON file and do everything that way, but if you're going to do that, then you're not really taking advantage of the game engine. What you really want is something where you can like click on the thing, like, oh, this is one of my data. No, not play. That wasn't what I wanted. Close. Don't. Like, you can click here and you can be like, oh, well, I want to edit this, and then it should pop up somewhere so you can edit it. In this case, in Unreal, one of my big complaints about Unreal is that you don't get to access these values right here. You actually have to double-click to open them up, which is a little bit of a shame, but it's still better than just having free-form text and trying to remember that shit. So, just in general, that's why I prefer to use in-game engine elements. This sure is an empty file section, though, isn't it? Here it is. Let's see if I can find some sprites here. So here are some of the sprites. You can see we've got a run animation, an idle animation, background, a ledge. And if we double-click these, we can pull them up. And this is what I'm talking about over here. Using this, we can define things like the collision type and link it to other objects without needing to worry about spelling things wrong or forgetting an entry or anything like that, because it's all object-oriented. And if you were going to do it using freeform JSON or something, it would be a big pain in the butt. But that said, this is obviously nothing like the game we want to build. We're actually sort of thinking about maybe a 4X-like. It's just for the sake of having something to do. I don't think it's going to end up being a full game or anything. Oh yeah, and I am basically in hibernation at this point. I get very, very slow and tired in the winter. And it is the winter. It's actually below 0 outside, Celsius-wise. And that means that my hands are cold, even though it is 70 in my building. So I guess I'm going to take advantage of a little fingerless glove that I leave around for just this purpose. Exciting, I know. But since I'm basically half asleep all the time and I don't have a clear sense of direction because I'm not in the middle of a game, I don't know how much streaming I'm going to do. I might only stop in once a week rather than twice a week. It's one of those things where I use streaming to keep me focused. So if I'm not doing something that, I can focus on, there's not really any reason to keep streaming. But I don't know, maybe I will. Now, the downside of this is that it doesn't appear to have any UI elements, and that's really what I was thinking about. What I really want from Unreal is an example of how to create UIs, and this didn't contain any of it. What it does contain is an example of how to set up the world in a 2D environment that uses physics. So you can see that they're all on the same plane. All the collider stuff is on the same plane. And all they've done is made it so that there's a basic 2D collider set up for each of these little things. Here it is, collision. And that allows them to not have to worry about the third dimension at all, because nothing ever goes on the third dimension. But it's still using all the same basic ways of interacting that you would use in a 3D game, which is nice, but we're not doing physics. We're doing spreadsheets. There's got to be some UI stuff. Let's see if we can find some. Now that I'm thinking about it, though, I don't remember ever seeing any. Maybe there aren't any UI elements, and it's all custom. Maybe I have to go to the store and buy something. Someone outside is making very strange burping noises. Oh, I see. It's a cop whose siren is broken. I don't know how far he'll get with that then. So here we've got a floating camera UI, a floating UI. This is VR stuff, which we're not doing. But here's a functional UI screenshot test. I don't know what this is. So, functional UI screenshot test. Well, it's not what we want, but it is an example. You can see how the camera is moving across the game world, but we see the UI stapled to the camera. That's an important difference here. In the game that we were playing, if we moved, that text box in the background moved with us. And, or rather didn't move with us. It stayed behind it. It's world-oriented. Whereas this new object here is camera-oriented. And that's a critical difference in how we set up UI. UI is usually camera-oriented rather than world-oriented. Although, obviously, it's best if you can choose. Not going to complain if you give me the option to go both. But, Unity does that. I don't know about Unreal. I don't think 2D UI is a huge part of their concern. So here you can see that this is an object with a screenshot camera inside of it, and I'm not really sure what that means. There's no... This is not a blueprint. It's something else. I don't know what it is. Because if I click on this blueprint thing, rather than editing the blueprint, it's going to create a blueprint. Al stopped in. Hello, Al. We're doing nothing. Hello. I'm trying to figure out how to do UI in Unreal, and I haven't looked at any tutorials, and that was apparently a mistake. So we're going to go ahead and delete that from the level. That's not what I want. Stop. I don't know what you're doing. Go away. There we are. So you can see that paper 2D, how it goes away when we move. We are... We wanted it to be UI instead, so it'll stay in the front. It'll be like a HUD. Maybe there's a HUD keyword here. Oh, Al's installing Lego Studio. I can't go too wrong with that. It turns out that oh shit, I've just forgot the name of that game that's really popular with the kids. Well, they've got a whole creation studio. It's basically like a lightweight version of Unity. So if you just want to futz around, yeah, exactly. I want the canvas here in Unreal, but if you just want to futz around with building levels for kicks, you can always download that. First, you have to remember the name of the most famous popular game in the world right now, which I'm not so good at because popular things don't interest me. Oh, Al says there's a Lego Unity plugin. No, not Fortnite. The one that's actually popular, not the one that has a lot of marketing. It's usually played on mobile, but the studio to the program to help you build the levels actually runs on your computer. It's not mobile friendly because it's just a little bit too beefy. So here's a text render. Is this back here a text render? That's a background sprite template label. So this is the thing that is doing the work here. And if we change the text, you can see how it changes. That's all correct. Al says portal something. No, I'm talking about, it's super, super popular with kids. At least it was 4 months ago. And it's got these really, really cartoony graphics. It's a little bit like Minecraft in terms of graphics, but it's not voxel based. It's full 3D with, all of the 3D models and stuff. No, definitely not Genshin Impact. That's not popular with kids. That's popular with adults. Let me just look it up. Popular game. Roblox. That's what I was thinking of. I can't believe that Google thinks that Roblox is less popular than Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Whatever. See you later, Al. So the question is, how do we get this to be on the UI layer? Is there a canvas object? No. Let's just take a quick little tour of the internets and see what the internet has to say. Unreal UI tutorial. And I bet there's not going to be any text ones. It's going to be all video. Yeah, it looks like it. Here's some text. Official from Unreal, which means it could be really archaic. I wish these things had a timestamp attached to them so that you could tell how old they were. Because being for Unreal 4 doesn't actually mean anything. In most games, you want to communicate some information to your players through your game's user interface. This can range from things like main menus, in-game pause menus, HUD elements like health or experience, inventory items, or help text to instruct players on what to do in a given situation. Yeah, woo. With Unreal Motion Graphics, you can create a widget blueprint to handle the display of any UI element in your project. The widget blueprint uses the blueprint's visual scripting to design the layout as well as, well, this sounds promising. In this how-to, we will create a widget blueprint and add some text to it. Setting up the UI widget blueprint. First, we need to set up our user interface. Widget blueprint. In the content browser, click Add New. Click User Interface. Oh, okay. Oh, it's right there. Brilliant. It was actually pre-selected. Let's create a widget blueprint. Boom. New widget blueprint. All UI elements are created inside a widget blueprint. Enter the sample UI. Enter the name sample UI. Okay, fine. We'll follow along perfectly here. Sample UI. For the name of the widget blueprint, and double-click to open it. Okay, here we go. Woohoo! When you open the blueprint, the UMG editor interface appears. The widget, by the way, if you can hear various sounds in the background, it is bitter cold, and the landlord is not so good at actually keeping the heat up properly, so he pays the bills either way. So that's heaters that you're hearing. The widget blueprint opens by default into the Designer tab, which is where you set up the visual layout of your UI elements. To script functionality for your widget blueprint, select the graph in the top right corner. Boom. Inside the palette window, drag a text widget into the Visual Designer graph. Into the graph? Drag a text widget into the graph? No, you're clearly showing this. Ah, for fuck's sake. So they say drag a text widget into the Visual Designer graph, by which they mean the Visual Designer graph, not the Visual Designer graph. Brilliant bit of writing. Anyway, we got to find that text widget. Yep. Blah. There we are. We got a text widget. I'm going to just quickly take a look and make sure I haven't done anything. Oh, Al rebooted his computer super fast. Welcome back. I'm going to go ahead and try and arrange things so that I can see the chat at the same time as the tutorial. My history on that has been pretty poor, though. All right, there we go. So this looks very promising. This box here usually implies a screen space box, usually implies something that's going to be in screen space because it's got a very specific ratio. It's got a very specific size and delineation. I can't say for sure, but that is probably what's going on here. So now we've got a text widget in there, and we got other kinds of widgets too, like we could put in a button. There, now we got two widgets. In the details panel for the text widget, okay, in the details panel for the text widget, sorry, I'm hiccuping instead of reading. It's very challenging to hiccup and read at the same time. So we got a whole bunch of options as to how we want to anchor things, and we can select, we want to anchor it to the center. Oh, I see. That's very, very nice, actually. It's very easy to understand. It's extremely similar to the way that Unity does it. One of the big differences is in the Unity, yeah, so they've got these options here. Unity this should be similar to the Unity option. If I do this, it should, I don't know whether to hold Shift or Control. Shift? Nope, that's not it. Control. Control is it. So that way it's really, really fast and easy to make it, fit into the space that you'd like it to fit. You don't have to manually drag it every single time. Very nice. And we can pull that down from the top here. There we go. Ah, nice, nice. This is all very similar to how it's done in Unity, which doesn't surprise me because I believe that Unity more or less cloned. Well, actually, I don't know who came first, but Unity took a long, long time to do it, so I presume that Unreal came first. We can size to content. We can do all this standard stuff. Sounds good, sounds good. The question is, how do we put it in the game and then make things right to it? We'll find here. Oh, part 2, adding the UI blueprint widget to your level. In order to see the text you just created in the game, you'll need to add the widget blueprint to your level. This involves adding some scripting to tell the level that when you press enter, we should display it in game. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and save this, and then I'll just drag it off the screen for a bit. And then we'll come over here into our very, very cute level. And from the main toolbar, select blueprints. There it is, level blueprint. Oh, it opened up in the same window. And because I've never clicked on this before, it really wants me to go through the walkthrough. So we're going to go ahead and tell it to go away. Right-click in the graph and search for the Create Widget node. Well, there it is. Boom. On the node, click the class and select the one we just created, which would be Sample UI. Hooray! Right-click on the return value pin and promote it to a variable? Really? Okay. Are we calling it Sample UI? Okay. So this means that we'll be able to tell what the UI is when anything asks for it. The level is, as far as I know, a singleton. So if we want the sample UI, we can go and we can say, yeah, give us a sample UI value, which we've just instantiated here. That should be pretty useful. Drag the out pin and add to viewport. Okay. Bow. Seems promising. Boom. There's our enter button. So we can just move this to the left and hook it up. Boom. All right, so this is a fairly straightforward tutorial. It's exactly what I was looking for. Hooray! Can you imagine an official tutorial that actually gets to the point and tells you what you need? There's some kerfuffing going on here, but everything's kerfuffing. There's no way around it. Hold Control and drag the sample UI variable into the graph from the Okay, is this to get rid of it when we stop pressing enter? Are we getting? It doesn't say whether we're getting or setting, but I guess we're getting. So we get a remove from parent node, huh? Okay, let's try that. So this will remove it from the viewport. Does that mean it deletes it, or does that mean it sets it free so that it's like loose in the level? I guess we'll know soon enough. I think it deletes it, because otherwise this wouldn't make any sense, would it? Oh, okay, yeah, good. This is an odd way to do it, so it's a good thing I did this tutorial. I would have never realized the way to do it was to simply add it to the viewport and then remove from parent. You'd think that if add to viewport is a very specific function, you'd think remove from viewport would be as well, but it's not. So now when we save this and go out here and hit play, I gotta go in. There we are. So great. So that's what I needed to know. That's not nearly as hard as I thought it would be, which is great, because it means that I can do all sorts of stuff pretty easily. It looks like we got a spammer here, and I don't really like how reporting spamming goes, because it requires us to explain why this guy is a spammer. Obviously, reporting the exact thing that's obviously spam doesn't do anything. So we'll just block him. Unfortunately, it seems like I can't get rid of the actual line of chat. Twitch used to allow me to just hit reload on the page, and it would clear out chat. But not anymore, so now it's stuck on my screen, distracting me forever. I'll just click clear chat. There we are. All right. I don't get enough chat messages that things scroll off the screen. So if someone comes and says, buy Bitcoin from Russian hackers today, it stays there for the next 8 days, which, as you might understand, is a little distracting. Well, that only took 10 minutes. So, Al says that when I ban them, the message is automatically deleted. Did you see it get deleted? Because it stayed up on my screen. So now that we've got that, okay, so maybe it didn't ban them. Well, next time they do a drive-by, we'll ban them again. Or try. I will master the art of telling Twitch to get people to leave me alone. So now that we've got this user interface, we can build all of the same things that we built in Godot again. We didn't really do very much in Godot, so it's not like it was a big expense or anything. Basically, the format is that we're doing a spreadsheet game. So we have one primary visual. Don't worry about it, Al. I don't have enough watchers to actually bother requiring a mod. If someone starts drive-bying me, I'll just stop streaming. So basically, if we wanted to do this in the way we were doing it before, we'd have one big block for the visuals of the colony, and then we'd have some stuff over here for everybody else. Let's see if we can do it. So the thing we need in order to do this properly is some kind of automatic arranger, like a list view. This isn't what we want. I mean, we could probably make it work. This is sort of what we want. We really just want a vertical splitter. Canvas panel, horizontal box, where's our vertical box? Vertical box. Boom, there's our vertical box. So with the powers of this vertical box, we can just kind of put it over here for now. And the idea is that inside of our vertical box, we would have a number of visual elements that would automatically get arranged. So to do that, we're going to want to go ahead and add in some just sprites. Here we are, image. Just drop those in. The image is a really strange size. And maybe that's just because it is not actually an image at the moment. I actually don't see any option. Okay, so it's saying that it's 32 pixels. So let's go ahead and arrange it to be one of those bricks. I don't think that's it. Where's the platform? That it? Nope. That's the material. These are all materials. Let's just use this. And then we can change the color a little bit so that it looks a little different. So, boom. And then we can just duplicate this, copy, paste. No, copy, paste. There we are. And you can see that it's now a little bit different. Apparently changing the color didn't stick because we didn't hit OK, which means that we're going to have terminal errors later when it says that we still have a color editor open somewhere. Unless they fixed that. Well, I hope they fixed it. It didn't really make a lot of sense. So this one needs to be a little smaller, like 128 maybe. And then we can just duplicate it. Copy, paste, 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 paste. There. Now we're back at the same spot that we were in Godot. You see how much easier that is? And if we wanted to see how that looked in the game, we can simply hit play. See? Look. God damn it. That means that I can't actually do anything else. Hold on, I gotta restart the fucking whole Unreal Engine. What a dumb bug. You think they would have fixed this by now? Exciting. Okay, we're back. When you play it, it looks like this. See? And you can see how even if we move around, it stays on the screen in the same spot. That's important because we are going to be like sweeping planets around and stuff in the background if we actually make this game. So we do need to have a concept of a world that is separate from the position of the UI. They may even be 3D objects. I haven't decided yet. It doesn't really matter. Now, the other question we want is, rather than a platformer, we don't want a platformer. We would like the mouse to remain a free mouse. Now, in theory, that should be pretty straightforward. I just don't know how to do it. Fixing bugs is for chumps in AAA studios, not engine makers. I haven't ever seen a AAA studio fix a bug. But this is a strange one. You'd think they would have fixed this because it's something that requires a hard reset. And if they're developing games in the engine, they would have noticed, right? I would have thought. Unreal, unlock mouse. Wow, that didn't come out right. Typing with gloves on is tough. Just ask Strongbad. Try to find set input game. Hold on. This is not terribly helpful. Try to find set input game, input mode game in UI. I don't know where that would be. Would it be under settings? All right, so let's just look through and see what we got here. Crypto. Oh, they mean actual crypto, not like bitcoins. Al says, how cold is it here? It's below 0 Celsius, significantly. And it's going to get worse. We're going to get According to some people, 10 inches of snow tonight. We'll see. I don't think 10 inches is right. I think it's not going to be nearly that much, but I have been wrong before. Either way, it is bitter cold. Al says, did your heating break? No, my landlord's broke. But I have, I've got my oven on, and I got my electric heater on, and they'll take me up the additional 10 degrees that's required to reach a livable condition. It's not pricey. The landlords pay for all of the heating bills. So you think that, they pay for the electricity and they pay for the gas. And that's the reason I'm here, because I knew they would try and do bullshit like this. And if they're not going to heat the building, I'm going to make them pay for the heat anyway. They're not saving any money. They're losing money because the oven and electric heating is twice as expensive or more than just heating it properly. It's not usually like that here either. It's pretty rare that that landlords are willing to pay for utilities, but in this case they have to, because the utilities are not properly split into the various apartments. Each apartment is like on 3 of the different lines, and it's just a big tangled mess. I live in a hole because it doesn't really matter where I live as long as it's got power and heat. General settings, is it here? It might be in the world settings object or something. Maybe I should ask it. Oh, here we are. Default viewport mouse capture. Capture permanently in no capture? No capture. Let's try that. You captured it in? Okay, it didn't actually capture it. It just made it invisible. Shift F1 does free it up, but it also takes the focus out of the window. I kind of want both things. Okay, so that's interesting. Clicking the button makes it go away. No? Not quite sure. It's clear that I'm not doing this right. It's clear there's some other way of doing it that is not going to break things, and I did not set it up to do it correctly. So if we take a look down at the input settings again, go ahead and do that again here. Don't really understand what I'm doing here. That's the problem with looking stuff up online. It's often it's wrong here. Go into the project settings, select input. Ugh. So basically they're saying that we want that same thing I just did, but with a show mouse cursor node. So is that something that I put into the level? Let's try it. So if I were to go back into the level, mouse cursor. There's no show mouse cursor. There's a lot of video tutorials on it, so maybe I'll have to stop watching this and do those instead. There's an unlock mouse button. Do you think that'll do it? Target is a widget blueprint library. Wait, how does that work? There's no inputs. I don't get how this would work. I'm just making myself more confused. I think this is something I'm going to have to look up a video tutorial on. Oh, well, these are ancient. That might be why. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and not do that. I'll look it up later. I'm trying to think about what else I want to do, and mostly what else I want to do is play a stupid video game. So maybe I will stop doing this for a while. I didn't expect to get done with the thing I wanted to do. So I'm sorry if you stopped in to catch me streaming for 2 or 3 hours, because I only streamed for half an hour. But I am a very sleepy guy, and I'll see you in, I don't know, February. I'll try and stream at least once a week, but I've got to get my bearings together because I'm very, very tired all the time in the winter. It's just how it is. See you around. Bye.